AutoCoding Systems is a world-class solution for coding management, packaging verification, and data integrity. For our demonstration line, we've set up an AutoCoding user interface with a hand scanner for personnel identification and for product selection. We also have a coding device for the best by date on the product. We have a 2D scanner for the data matrix artwork code and a 1D scanner for the UPC symbol. Further down the line, we're also controlling a metal detector and weight checker for package quality control. For this demonstration of the AutoCoding packaging integrity system, I'm going to walk you through the setup of a line, the proper setup of a line, the testing of a product that is a good product and not rejected product, and then we'll introduce a few variables that will help us explain how our system functions and the value that it brings to the plant floor. And finally, a good check at the end of the line to allow the product to continue on to further packaging. I'm at the login page. I'm going to identify myself to the system so that at this point, all my activities and setup activities can be identified by person if that's desired. It's asking me for a product. You'll notice that right now, my printer has no job loaded. My check weigher and metal detector is running at a very slow rate. It's essentially offline. This line is not capable of producing product right now, even if I were to attempt to do anything manually. All right, now that I've logged into the system, I'm going to set up my product. So I have my almond pastry that I'd like to make today on my packaging line, and I'm going to set that product up in the system so that my devices begin to understand what it is I'm trying to accomplish. So I'll take my almond product and scan the 2D barcode that we've got on the front of the package. I can see now that that scanned product matches in the database with the physical product that I actually want to create. And I'll move on to a workflow step that we've introduced for this particular demonstration. So in this case, it's asking for a batch ID of my upstream product. Batch ID in this case is supposed to be a 3-digit number. If I accidentally enter an additional character, the validation kicks in and lets me know that the batch ID must be a 3-digit number, and so I must have accidentally entered the wrong one. Now that we've got past the batch ID, we can see that the date rules have been applied to the product, and I can confirm that the calculation is accurate against my current date time. I'm going to go ahead and accept those dates. And it's going to tell me that job setup has been complete with this product and those dates. I'm going to go ahead and run the line now, and it's going to ask me to log in one more time for audit purposes. Now that I've confirmed I'd like to run the line, the system is interfacing to each of my devices and sending the proper parameters to those devices to set them up. So as it begins to be updated, each one is checked off, and my stack light changes from amber to green. At this point, the integrity of the packaging line has been captured, and all my devices are of good status. I have not yet accumulated any counts and run production. So let's go ahead and run some production. You'll see a big difference in our printer. We now actually have a running state as well as a date code that's appropriate for the line, and our scanner has begun scanning, and the check weigher has ramped up to the current production speed. I'm going to go ahead and send down a normal good product down the line. We should see the date code print and the check weigher metal detection pass. The product will pass on through and end at the end of the production line. So at this point, I've got a proper date code. It includes my batch ID that I entered by hand, and the system remained green, still running product. And here at this supervisor workstation, I not only see the status of this line, but I can actually navigate to an overview of multiple lines. So now I've got overview status of each line in my plant. I can see that we're running this product on line 1 and that there isn't product running on the other 2. I also have access to statistics about each of the runs as well. So this just allows us to back up and look at the plant as a whole from a supervisory standpoint. Now I'm going to go back and introduce a variation in packaging. That variation in packaging is going to be very subtle and difficult to pick up on if I'm reloading a magazine in a packaging machine and just going for new wrapping material. But in this case, we've reduced our fat in our almond pastry, and we are now at the light version. So now I have this code, and I have this badge. We have the same UPC code so that it rings through the retail chain, supply chain, no different than my previous version. My operator has accidentally loaded this artwork into the machine in advance of running the cutting over to the new product. So if that were to happen, my barcode scanner is going to pick up on that new artwork code and stop the system. Alert the operator that something is different than what we originally intended to run. It's told me wrong barcode. The data matrix is different than what we originally said we were going to make. So I've got to acknowledge that, clean out my packaging machine, and get back to good production. I've been able to show that we gain control of the line, we allow good production to occur, we stop when we are about to make a packaging mistake, and invalidate the integrity of our packaging supply chain. I'll be able to wrap up this particular production run by ending the job, letting it know who it is that actually wants to end the production run and actually disable the devices and stop production. So at this point, the job has been cleared from my printer. The job has been cleared from the checkweigher and my scanners. So if I have scrap products set aside that I was going to fix later, I now no longer have that option, which prevents us from creating additional errors and accidentally coding the wrong product. So we're back to where we started, and I hope that is beneficial to understand the control that AutoCoding can bring to your packaging line.